Hey guys, and welcome to May's wrap-up video. First of all, sorry if you can hear any background noise. My dog is barking. So if you don't know, every month since January of this year, I've decided to do a wrap-up, and in these videos I'm going to be telling you all of the movies, television shows and books I have watched/read in the month. So if you haven't watched any of the previous wrap-ups, then please feel free to check those out. Anyway, this is May's. I know there is a few days left until May officially ends, but I wanted to get this up today for you, so any that I might happen to watch in the next 2 or 3 days will go in June's wrap up. So as always, we'll start with movies. The first movie I watched is W.E. Here it is. This is a film by Madonna, and it stars Natalie Dormer for about 5 seconds, but that's the main draw why I wanted to watch it. It also stars Katie McGrath, who I also love, and it is about Wallis Simpson and Edward VIII, and why Edward VIII had to abdicate to marry Wallis Simpson because she was a divorcee and things like that. It's had negative reviews, but I think it's a very, very good film, actually. I really enjoyed it. I watched it with my mum. I say this a lot because I watch a lot of historical things. I wouldn't say it's completely historically accurate 100%. So if you're after 100% accuracy, then probably not. But it's a good way to get into researching about Wallis Simpson, Edward VIII, if you want to. I don't know too much about the subject matter anyway. I'm more of a Tudors girl. But yeah, very, very enjoyable film. The next thing I watched was on Netflix, and it is a film called Shelter. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my main draw to this film was that Jonathan Rhys-Meyers was in it. It's going to be very hard to talk about this film without spoiling it. So it is a horror. And I do love horrors, but I'm not very good with them. I, again, watched this with my mum. She is fine with horrors. She doesn't get scared. She didn't think it was scary. I hated it. I thought it was terrifying. I didn't hate the film. I'm not good with horror, even though I love it. The basic premise... Oh, this is so difficult without spoilers. The basic premise is that Jonathan Rhys-Meyers' character is has multiple personality disorder. Or does he? That's the thing. So he has different alters, which means different sides of your personality, different people. And there's a young woman in it. I think she's played by Julianne Moore, who I think is fantastic. She's a psychiatrist, and it's all about sifting through his multiple personalities, but you find out that there's cults involved and there's more than meets the eye. It's a very good film. I'd watch it, but if you do get scared easily like I do, probably don't watch it at midnight like I did. The next one is a film I have seen before, and it is, of course, Hot Fuzz, which is just a guilty pleasure for me. I don't know why I said of course, as if you knew what was coming next. I do love Hot Fuzz. Again, I watched this with my mum. We probably watch it once every couple of months when it happens to be on TV. It happened to be on TV, so we watched it, and it's just a funny, feel-good film. How to describe Hot Fuzz? A cop goes to a village, a lot of murders start happening, everybody else is sceptical, nobody else believes that it's a serial killer, and it's just a very funny comedy about finding out who the serial killer or killers are. The next film I watched for the first time. I recorded it on the TV. I knew it was going to be stupid, and it was, and that is Lesbian Vampire Killers. What did I just watch? What did I watch? Honestly, I love James Corden, and is it Matthew Horn? Is that his name? I know he's been in a lot. And it's about lesbian vampires, really. What more do you want? It's a silly movie, kind of like an epic movie kind of thing. I can't really give you a review on it. It's just a funny, silly movie. And the final movie I watched this month, so not that many actually, was technically not a movie, it's a documentary, but because it was 2.5 hours long, I've put it in the movie category, and that was 50 Years of Star Trek, which was on the TV, and it's about Star Trek, the different type, not the different types, but the different Star Treks there's been. So the original series, the original movies, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation. I've not done them in order. Voyager. It didn't mention Discovery because I think it was done before Discovery, but it even spoke about the animated series that was short-lived for a while. and just what Star Trek as a fandom has actually done to the world, really, because you might not be a Star Trek fan, I am, but the technology that has come out of Star Trek into the real world is insane. For example, your tablets that we use every day were created off of a concept that was used in Star Trek, not Star Wars. So it's just insane, and it was just a really fun documentary. Next, we're on to the TV shows. There's a lot in this category, so I'm just going to flick through really, really quickly, as always. First up is a TV show that's going to be in every single wrap-up, and that's EastEnders. I am not going to talk about it a lot, but I do watch EastEnders, and I've been crying my eyes out over the recent knife crime storyline. Then we have Britain's Got Talent and Britain's Got More Talent. As I am filming this, Britain's Got Talent is on every night, the semi-finals. And then we have Doctor Who. I carried on with my Doctor Who rewatch, and I think I watched 2 episodes this month. That's pretty much it. I try to fit in where I can. I think I'm on Blink now, so it's been a while. The next one is 5 Goes to Eurovision, Greatest Hits. Then 5 Goes to Eurovision When Things Go Horribly Wrong, and finally Eurovision itself in that little category. I love Eurovision. It's cheese, it's fantastic, and I watch Eurovision every year. I have like a mini party with myself, all my parents. I put banners up, cupcakes, food. Oh, I just love Eurovision. Next, I watched 1 episode of Occult Crimes, which is on Netflix. I'm not going to continue because I just didn't like it, the style of it, how it was made. I can't even remember really what the crime was. Obviously, it's occult crimes and it's murders, serial killers, that kind of thing. But I just didn't really like the style of it, so I probably won't be watching that again. Then I've been continuing to watch Gotham. Gotham finished this month, and the next season will be the last, so that's really, really sad. Next year I have the last season of Game of Thrones and the last season of Gotham, so it's going to be a very emotional year for TV shows. Next up, I watched the BAFTAs. I always watch the BAFTAs every year. I've mentioned before in wrap-ups that I do love award shows. Then I watched Royal Recipes. I love Royal Recipes. I'm obsessed with it. I think I've probably mentioned it in a wrap-up before. They did a week of specials leading up to the royal wedding of Royal Recipes. And obviously, along with the recipes, they talk about other things that were going on at the time and other bits. It's not just all recipes, but it's I love it. I just love it. Then I watched a documentary with Dad. I recorded it for Dad on the TV, and it's the making of Mark Bolan. If you don't know, Mark Bolan in T-Rex. Mark Bolan was a musician who has passed away a long time ago actually. And he was one of Dad's heroes along with David Bowie, so I had to record it for Dad. I didn't know much about Mark Bolan myself, but I wanted to educate myself for my dad, and it was a very emotional documentary. Even though I don't really know much about Mark Bolan, I still felt the emotion in the documentary, and it was good. And the final TV show I've got here, technically not a TV show, it's a one-off. Of course, it's the royal wedding. I was at work during the royal wedding. I recorded it, and then it was the perfect way to do it because then I could skip all the rubbish, which I did. And not much I can say about the royal wedding. Everyone's been obviously raving about it in the UK, whether you was liking it or not. I thought it was a really nice, really cute affair, and Meghan looked beautiful. So on to books. There's a few, so I'm going to get through these very, very quickly. I've got them over here, which is why I'm moving over. So first up, this is a very varied mix, by the way. I think the movies, TV shows and books have been this month. We have The Secrets of High Magic, and this is the vintage edition by Frances Melville, and it's about real life magic. Whether you're into that or not is personally like your decision. I am into reading about magic, real life magic. I don't think I'm Hermione Granger from Harry Potter by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe in magic in certain aspects. I practice sort of candle magic and things like that. I'm not really going to get into that. I'm not going to say I'm a witch or anything, but there are certain things that I do practice in my spiritual beliefs, so I read a little bit about that. Next up, I read, just to get myself in the mood, The Royal Wedding Album, which is Kate Middleton and Prince William's wedding. It's all about Kate and Will. That's really all there is to it. Next, I read a book that is pretty creepy for everyone, and it is a serial killers. I bought this in Asda a long time ago. I'm not saying I'm obsessed with serial killers or anything, but I do find reading about them very, very interesting. I've mentioned this a few times. I know you get weird looks when you say you're reading about serial killers, but I like knowing their motives and their motivation and their mindset, what makes people tick, what makes people do things like this. And that's why I read this. So not really much more to say about that. Then again, on the same veins of The Secrets of High Magic, I read the book of Wicca by Lucy Summers. I am not Wiccan. I am not a Wicca. At least not at this point in time. I do like to dabble in certain things though. But it was very, very interesting. Again, about magic circles, the elements, how to invoke things, rituals, things like that. I haven't done anything that's in this book. It was just purely for research, really. Then I reread for the millionth time The Hunger Games, because it's one of my favourite franchises. I just freaking love it. I love The Hunger Games. One of my favourite book series of all time. So of course I read The Hunger Games, then I read Catching Fire, and then I read Mockingjay. I think they're very easy, very quick reads, to be honest. So if you're looking to get into a YA book series and you've never read The Hunger Games, maybe you might have watched the films, please try to read the books if you can, because even if you're not a big reader, I think these are very easy to get into and very quick reads for someone like me anyway. Once I start, I can't stop. They're going around the house with me. So I love The Hunger Games. And then the final 3 books, I got into The Hunger Games in a really big way this month. I mean, I've always been into it, but I started reading and I couldn't stop. So I ended up reading pretty much every book I own to do with The Hunger Games. So we have The World of The Hunger Games, which is all about Panem and the world. We have The Hunger Games Tribute Guide, a very small book, just on the tributes of the 74th Hunger Games. I was going to say the first Hunger Games, but the first Hunger Games in the book, the 74th. I wish they'd have done this for the 75th Hunger Games, but they didn't. And the final one is the Hunger Games A to Z, which is an unofficial book, I believe. And it's just A is for, H is for, B is for, and it's got nice pictures in it. So there are still a few Hunger Games books I do own, but I just went into a big binge and ended up reading 6 Hunger Games books this month. And that's actually it. That's everything that I watched / read this month. Like I said, there's still 2 or 3 days left. I don't even know. So they will be going in June's. If I read or watch anything, I probably will. So thank you very much for watching. Please let me know, out of everything that I've spoken about today, if you can remember, because I did flick through them really quickly, what is one thing out of my list that you have watched or read and enjoyed? I'd love to know that. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next month with June's autograph. No, I keep saying autograph update. I'll see you next month with June's wrap up. Bye bye.